Anyway, y'all, we're moving in back at the Spook6ular with our 7th movie review. That's a week of these or something, right? 7? Anyway, we are back with Wes Craven's A New Nightmare. And so, again, I have a lot to say about this movie, because this movie is so interesting. I love the metagame. I love how it plays with the metagame so much. But again, this takes place after 6 A Nightmare on Elm Street films. So you got the first movie, written, directed by Wes Craven. Then you got the third movie, where Wes Craven, Dream Warriors, where Wes Craven was, he was like, he co-wrote the script or something, but he didn't really direct it or anything. And then you've got Heather, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, who plays, is it Heather or Linda? I don't know. Who's Linda? I don't know. I think it's Heather. Anyway, she plays Nancy from part 1 and part 3 of A Nightmare on Elm Street. And so they all play themselves, right? In the universe where the movies are just movies. They play themselves, right? So Heather is Heather. Wes Craven is Wes Craven. Robert Englund is Robert Englund. And they play themselves, right? And they play themselves after the movie franchise is over. So the movies end. There's no more movies, right? Part 6 happens. Freddy's dead. But then there's like an evil entity that's secretly been forcing Wes Craven to make more movies, or not even forcing Wes Craven, but, forcing Wes Craven to make a new movie because the evil entity liked being Freddy from the movies or something. I don't even know. But this movie is phenomenal. I mean, it's a wonderful, reboot to the series. I mean, seriously, we're talking about, there's such a meta game. I love that shit. I love when, the fourth wall breaks. I love when actors play themselves. It's like the Seinfeld reunion and Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? It's just, really good stuff. It's great content. But anyway, the movie itself is great. I like Freddy. He's got a trench coat now in this movie. That's cool. The kid, this is one of those movies where there's, an evil kid, kind of like The Omen or something. They went for the evil kid thing. That's usually not... in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, they kind of did, a little kid thing, but, usually kids are not part of, there's late teens and adults that are the people in these movies. But then there's an evil kid who's being controlled by Freddy again. And, that's Heather's kid, the actress, who played Nancy in the original. One of my favorite scenes in this movie is near the end, where the actor who played Nancy's father in the first and third movie, I forget his name, but he is with Heather as they're trying to figure something out. And then, all of a sudden, their, clothing changes to, the stuff they were wearing in the first movie. And then all of a sudden, the house behind Heather turns into the house from the movie. And it's just, that's a great scene. I mean, this is a great movie. This is a great movie. I love the original 6 films of A Nightmare on Elm Street. I love that they got goofy. I love the goofiness of them. But as far as, a horror movie... This is, I think, the most horrifying of the A Nightmare on Elm Streets. I don't remember. I haven't really seen the remake, so the remake may be... But as far as horror, as far as, I'm getting scared, right? This one was probably the most scary, I think. And it was still a little goofy, right? The Freddy is still a little goofy. He still calls people bitch, it's still goofy. But it's just, I don't know, the vibe in this movie, they changed the vibe quite a bit, and it works. It just works really well. You got, Robert Englund, who plays himself. I also think he played Freddy. I don't know, maybe someone else played Freddy, but Freddy looked a little different, more more waxy, more prosthetic-y than makeup-y. But anyway, and he had a trench coat, which I enjoyed. But the deaths in this movie were pretty good. I mean, I would say that the deaths in this movie, overall, were a little underwhelming, because the husband dies, right? Who else dies in this movie? I don't even remember. A couple, the babysitter dies. That was a good scene where Freddy is fucking dragging her corpse on the ceiling and shit. That was a crazy scene. Goddamn. I mean, this is a good movie. I don't know. Wes Craven's A New Nightmare. That's the name of the movie, by the way. I was on HBO and I was I know this fucking shit's on here. Is it in the A category? Is it in the N category? New Nightmare? No, it's in the W category because the movie is called Wes Craven's New Nightmare. A New Nightmare. Or is it New Nightmare or A New Nightmare? I don't even know. Anyway, it's a good ass movie. I don't know. This may be, in my opinion, the best of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I think this one might be the best. As far as horror, as far as like, holy shit, I'm scared, right? The vibes in this movie, top notch, right? And it's still a little goofy, right? Like Freddy does his like extendo arm thing at one point in the movie, and it's great. But it's just like, this is a great movie. I mean, again, the 7th movie in the franchise, and the twist is just, you know, again, all the 6 movies are movies, but there's an evil entity that exists outside the movies. It's just it's a great concept. It's a great film. But again, really, you gotta watch them in order, right? Like, if you jump in to New Nightmare and like you haven't seen any other ones, you're still gonna like it. I would say this one is very easy to jump into, but it's so much better when you've seen all 6 of the originals. It's especially 1 and 3, because there's references to 1 and 3 more explicitly, because the main actress was one of them from 1 and 3, right? So there's, you know, it's just a good movie. It's just really good. I love that they have the script. It's like the Muppet movie, you know, at the in the Muppet movie where the Electric Mayhem have the screenplay, right? At the end of this movie, Heather is reading the script of the movie, but she's in the movie, but it's real life, but she's reading the script of the movie. She has the script in her hand, and then she's like scrolling through the pages, and that's just actually, it's just the script from the movie. So they have the script from the movie, but she's in real life, but she's in a movie. Is she acting? Is she acting in real life? Is the script like based on real life? Was she, who knows? What the fuck? That ending, I love the ending in this movie. I mean, you gotta watch it if you haven't seen it. This is a great film. Wes Craven's New Nightmare, man. I mean, it's just great. It's a great movie. I don't even know what to say. It's a great movie. I also love, like, the washed-up actress thing. How everyone keeps asking her, oh, the films. Oh, you're famous. Or are you the one who did those? And she's like, yeah, you know, I only did, like, 1 and 3. And I was like, you know, like, when I did A Nightmare on Elm Street, I didn't know it would become a franchise, you know, because she's in the first one. Right, so, you know, you don't know it's going to become a franchise. How the fuck are you going to know that? You think it's like some random one-off cheese fest, and then, oh, you know, a couple years later, like, you're not even really in the sequels. Like, you're in one of the sequels, but a couple years later, you're famous because every time a sequel comes out, people go back and watch the original, right? So, you know, that's interesting. It's a good dynamic. And it's just a great movie. I don't know what to say. It's just, this is a great movie. It's a great entry into the franchise. I'm glad that, you know, again, they could have kept going for a 3rd trilogy. But I love the idea that they decided to go completely out of the box with this one. And it's just, it's a really good movie. I don't really even know what to say. And once again, I will be watching Freddy vs. Jason tonight. Freddy vs. Jason, of course, is the 7th movie canonically in the original series. So, Freddy's Dead being 6, Freddy vs. Jason being 7, this one being like, you know, it's like if you have a flow chart, we're gonna need a fucking flow chart for these. If you have a flow chart, right, so from Freddy 6, right, Nightmare on Elm Street 6, right, then you go to New Nightmare, that's one branch pathway, and then you go to Freddy vs. Jason, right, but then also, is it a 3rd pathway to A Nightmare on Elm Street, or is that its own timeline? Right, who knows? I haven't watched the remake. I don't know if it's like a remake or if it's like a reboot. I don't know how it works. I haven't seen it. But anyway, A New Nightmare. I mean, it's phenomenal. I don't know what to say. I love this movie. I love all of these movies. This is my favorite of the slasher movies, series, in my opinion. So, I think it's great. But if you're not watching these, I know there's some people that are not watching any of these movies and they're just listening to me talking about them every day, and that's great. That's fine. But I highly recommend you go watch these movies. Do a marathon. Watch them all in one day, and then in between the movies, watch my reviews or something. Like, that could be fun. But again, they're great. They're great movies. I love them, and they're great. I don't know what to say. The Dream World stuff, the Dream World in this movie was really well done. Right, the dream worlds in all of them are really well done, but this one was a little bit more nightmarish. You know, like the other ones are nightmares too, but they're like the more goofy kind of nightmare style, you know. So, but this one is like a little bit more grounded and gritty with the nightmares, especially with the kid having nightmares that are like a little bit more like childlike. But yeah, I don't know. Wes Craven's New Nightmare, it's good. Check it out. So anyway, that's the show for today.